How's it going, Magpies? Magpie Leon here. In today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today, we're going to plan out a concept for if Master Chief was ever added to Smash. This means we'll be going over his potential spirit board, Mii costumes that could come with the DLC, the stage, the character's moves, the music, Amiibo, all pretty much covering like all the grounds that come with a DLC character, and basically what if this DLC character was Master Chief and how I could see him fitting into the game and how he would play out. So starting off with one of the smaller things, let's jump straight into talking about the Spirit Board. Now, for those of you that haven't played Smash Ultimate, Spirits are like these little things that you unlock throughout either playing through the Spirit Board, playing the World of Light mode. You can get them through Classic mode, through participating in tournaments. They help you out in certain modes, and you can also use them to train Amiibo. So, you know, they're alright. They're, I guess, in a way, they're considered a collectible. You could consider them a collectible if you wanted to. That's probably the easiest way to explain it. There's hundreds of them, and each DLC that gets added comes with their own Spirit Board. So, obviously, if this was the case for Chief, there'd be certain characters that would probably work better for Spirits than others. Obviously, you'd want some of the more iconic ones. So the 4 levels that Spirits come in are Novice, Advanced, Ace, and Legendary. With each DLC Spirit Board, there's never a specific amount, they usually vary in numbers. But for example, if we look at the Minecraft one, you've got things like the Villager and Iron Golem Spirit, the Creeper, the Enderman, the Slimes. There's a few different ones, and they all have like different battles that play out, which, I mean, they're a pretty fun little bonus mode. So I think for Chief, if we started off with the Novice ones, I think something like the Grunt would be one of the spirits. I think that'd fit in as like a Novice one, as well as a few other like Covenant enemies, maybe the Jackal as one. They could be equipped with like the back shield for their fight or something like that. And then if you moved on to Advanced, maybe you'd have something like the Brutes and Elites. When you move on to Ace, it'd be something like Hunters. And then Legendary, that's where you probably have like the Arbiter, I could see being a Legendary Spirit, or Gravemind. I think that would be a pretty cool one. Again, for like some of the Ace ones, maybe someone like Sergeant Johnson, pretty iconic characters that you could use as spirits for your battles, and I think it would actually be cool seeing some of these have some form of representation in Smash. Again, nothing major, it'd just be a cool little addition and something cool to play through. I'd like to see what sort of characters they actually use to represent the other characters and the spirits in the Spirit Board. Like, who would they actually use to represent the Grunt? It'd probably be Kirby, let's be honest. And like, who would they get to represent someone like the Arbiter or Sergeant Johnson? I think that'd be something pretty funny to see. Now, for some Spirit Boards, some of the fights are represented with Mii fighters, which brings us on to our next topic. This isn't the case for every DLC that's added, but a lot of the time when a DLC character's added, they usually get some Mii costumes from that franchise as well. Looking at Sephiroth, for example, we got a couple of Final Fantasy Mii costumes, and looking at Minecraft again, we got some Minecraft Mii costumes. So if Chief was added, maybe we'd get some Halo ones too. Now, if we had to limit this down to 3 possible characters, I would probably go with Cortana, Johnson, and the Arbiter as the 3 that I think they would probably do. Now, they could do more, they could do some other characters, but I think they're obviously some of the most iconic characters. Cortana could be a Mii Brawler, Johnson could be a Mii Gunner, and the Arbiter could be a Mii Sword Fighter. And these would all be like Mii costumes, and I think it'd be a cool way to, again, get these characters represented in the game. I think it would be something a little bit funny. And going back to the Spirit Board real quick, let's say you did have an Arbiter an Arbiter Spirit, it could be the Arbiter Mii costume that represents him there, and I think that would be pretty funny. I mean, there could also be other characters, like maybe a Didact Mii costume would be really cool, or a Grunt one, like that has like a little plasma pistol as a Mii Gunner. I think that would be pretty funny and definitely something I'd like to see. We've seen a Skyrim Mii costume now, the Cuphead one, Sans, Fallout. Like, we've seen quite a few characters appear as Mii costumes. Obviously, not all the ones that I just mentioned are like owned by Microsoft, but we have seen a couple of Microsoft characters appear as Mii costumes. I think that the Dragonborn one looks really cool. As much as I would have liked the Dragonborn as a fighter, the Mii costume's cool, and I'd like to see some Halo characters appear as Mii costumes if Chief was ever added as if Chief was ever added as a fighter. I wouldn't want to see Chief as a Mii fighter. No thanks. Please don't. But with those 2 sort of smaller topics out of the way, let's move on to the next thing. I think at this point it goes without saying that Halo has some top-notch, amazing music across all of its games, and there is definitely some songs that I definitely believe deserve to be there if Halo was ever added to Smash, as like some of the music that would play over its stage. We'll talk about the stage in a minute, but for now let's talk about what potential music I would like to see. Now I think it's pretty much obvious the main theme would have to show up in some way, some iteration of the main theme. It's just great. It's like, you know, when you've got your Warthog run and that music kicks in, like, it's just awesome. So I think that would definitely need to show up in some way, and it would just be cool to fight as Chief with that music playing, or hell, even just fighting as some other characters and hearing that music blasting in the background. It would be really cool. I think Brothers in Arms is a really good one as well, like that could show up as music to fight to. It's quite intense, it's quite dramatic and loud, and I think that would be a pretty good one to have like a remixed version of and Smash to fight while listening to. If, let's say, for example, Chief is based off the Infinite version of Chief, maybe some music for Infinite could show up, like Set a Fire in Your Heart, Spartan. Just Set a Fire in Your Heart. Anyway, that song, I think, like, that's a really good track. It gives me chills whenever I listen to it. It's so good. I think that, again, could be something like, it would probably be remixed a little as the music usually is for Smash, but that could be something that shows up. 117 from Halo 4, another great track, another one that I think would be great as like a sort of fighting track. Covenant Dance would also be a great one to hear. I think that, again, is a really good song, and it would be really, like, it'd be cool to fight to that song. That would be pretty sick. Now, I don't know how many tracks would actually, like, show up, but it would be cool to at least have, like, maybe one from each of the mainline games. Like, if we were to have one from Halo 5, I really enjoy listening to Light as Green, the one that plays in that opening cutscene, and it's a pretty sick song. From Halo 4, I already said, like, 117. There is an abundance of tracks that they could pick from all the other games. It's a bit easier to pick from Halo 4 and 5 because overall, I'm not as much of a fan of those soundtracks, and I do think there is some songs that stick out more than others. Not that they're bad to say, but they do have some music that is a lot better than the rest of the soundtracks, and that's, I worded that wrong. They have some songs that are better in Halo 4 and 5 than other songs in Halo 4 and 5. Overall, their soundtracks aren't as solid as some of the older games, so it's harder to pick music from the older games, but I think if we at least had one song from each of the games, I think that would be really cool. So obviously the most common place for the music to play on would be the Halo stage. So that brings us on to our next topic. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, I did actually make a Halo stage recently for my college work. I made one, like a Halo inspired Smash stage for my college project. I made a video about it, so go check that out if you haven't. And I'm currently working on converting Lockout from Halo 2 into a Smash stage. I've been posting about that on my Twitter, so if you are interested, go follow me on there. I'll leave a link in the description or something like that. But that's sort of just to, I guess, in a way, give an example of how a Halo Smash stage could look. But if there was to be one in the game, I think it's quite a hard topic to sort of, like, what would they actually pick for a Halo Smash stage? Would it be based off a location in the campaign? Would it be based off a multiplayer map? Like, and then even then, what multiplayer map would it be based off? Which one of the games would it be from? If it's based off somewhere in the campaign, what type of area? Is it going to be a shield world? Is it going to be a Halo ring? Is it going to just be like some area from Earth? Like, there is so much potential. Now, I think personally, it would be cool to see a multiplayer stage converted to sort of, in a way, represent Halo's multiplayer, which is obviously a core part of the game. So I think that would be something that I'd like to see if it was a multiplayer stage. Obviously, I'm building one for Lockout right now, but I'd love to see something like, I think Blood Gulch is definitely one of the most iconic Halo maps. I love Blood Gulch. I just find it really fun. But I think if we had a Halo Smash stage, maybe something like Blood Gulch could work, and it could be where if you're playing in the regular version, you fight on top of one of the bases, whereas if you're playing in like Battlefield or whatever, you can sort of see the gulch behind you in like the background. I think that would be cool. Or like something, again, like Valhalla, or I'm trying to think of other really cool multiplayer maps that would work as a Smash stage. Obviously, some would work better converted into a Smash stage than others. But again, it could just be like, let's say it's from the opening part of the second level of Combat Evolved, where you're on that big bridge. Maybe that could be the Smash stage. It could be quite similar to Elden Bridge. Or it could be something like the Fire Emblem, the newest Fire Emblem stage. Or in fact, all the Fire Emblem stages, where it like morphs into different areas. I think that could also be pretty cool. And like maybe it could morph into different areas from all the different games. But again, maybe if it is based off Halo Infinite, which I'm going to assume if Chief was added, he would be based off the Infinite iteration. Maybe it could be based off a new multiplayer map or somewhere from Zeta Halo. That would be really cool. I just love a stage where I can see the Halo ring in the background, please. There is definitely a lot of potential for a Halo Smash stage. There is so much you could pick from, and I imagine it would be really hard to do because there's just so much there. There's all those multiplayer maps, there's all those areas from the campaign that are all really iconic spots and locations. Obviously, some being much more iconic than others. And obviously, if you see some of the other like Smash stages, they've managed to convert areas from games into Smash stages quite well. So it would be interesting to see what they do. Obviously, I think going over to Banjo and Steve, obviously both other Microsoft characters, both had locations from their games transferred into Smash stages really well. So it would be interesting to see how they'd handle a Halo one. Anyway, I think I've teased you quite enough now. It's probably time we jump into the real meat of this video and talk about Chief's potential moveset. Okay, so for this, we're going to base Chief off of the Infinite version, but also take elements from prior games, just as certain characters like Mario may appear as one version of the character, but have abilities from other games, a bit like how he has Flood, but he also has like Cappy and certain taunts and stuff, or how Link is in his Breath of the Wild appearance, but he still kind of uses abilities from other games in a way. Halo is obviously a series spanning across multiple mainline games with various other like sort of side material, books, comics, a little anime spin-off. It's got a TV series coming out, and it's got spin-off games such as Halo Wars. It's got a lot. And Chief hasn't exactly appeared in every single bit of media, but there was a lot there to build a moveset around other than just gun. Now, obviously, we'd have to limit Chief's weaponry that he uses down to a certain amount, but he wouldn't just use weapons too. He's also been proven to be quite a capable fighter in hand-to-hand combat. That's shown in Shadows of... No, not Shadows of Reach, that's the book. Fall of Reach, that's the one, right? The little series that they did to show how Chief was made. Obviously, he's shown to be quite the capable hand-to-hand combatant, so I think for his jab he would pretty much just punch and kick, the pretty standard ordeal that you'd expect. Now, I think in terms of weapons, the energy sword is probably the most iconic weapon in Halo. Could be wrong, but I'd definitely say it's probably the most iconic. And I think the energy sword would be integrated into Chief's moveset in some way, but I don't think it would be the primary form of attack. Maybe it would just be limited to like the side B or forward smash, where you sort of thrust with the energy sword like you do in the games. I think that would make sense. Maybe for his neutral B you'd use a specific gun, like the assault rifle or battle rifle. I obviously, you wouldn't have loads of different weapons there. I mean, you would have a few, I'd imagine, but you wouldn't have every weapon that is available in Halo, so maybe it could be done where it's like randomized, where you can press B and it could be the assault rifle, or it could be the battle rifle, or it could be one of the new weapons like the commando rifle, or maybe it is just limited to one weapon. Now, I think if there was to be just one for the neutral B, I'd say the assault rifle. Maybe you can hold it to like auto fire, but after a certain amount of time you run out of ammo and you've got to reload, which leaves you vulnerable, or you can just tap it and like fire in little bursts. I think that would be a pretty good way to handle that move and not make it stupidly broken. I think having a reload mechanic would obviously, one, make it feel a bit more like Halo, and two, not make the move overly broken, since you wouldn't want someone just sitting there the entire time holding B and you can't get at them because you're just being hit by bullets. Now, if again, we're basing this off Infinite Chief, so like maybe for his up B's recovery, you could actually use the grapple hook that we've seen for Infinite. The grapple shot, is it called the grapple shot? Why am I forgetting all this now? Anyway, you can like grapple onto the stage and pull yourself back up, but this could also be used to maybe point at enemies and pull yourself towards them. Maybe it could allow for a little bit of like sort of combo game where you could point the grapple shot at them, grapple towards them, and then forward smash to actually like slash them with your energy sword, or slide B to slash them with your energy sword. I think having the energy sword as the side B would make sense. Although at the same time, I think in terms of side B, maybe it could be where you throw a grenade. It could be either the standard grenade or the plasma grenade or something like that. I think that would be pretty cool if maybe the energy sword was actually limited to smash attacks and was there for, you know, your forward smash, up smash. Maybe the grav hammer could actually be the down smash now that I think about it, and you could like slam into the floor and it could create like a little, like it would damage a radius around you since obviously it manipulates gravity. I think that would be a pretty cool way to handle that. But yeah, like I was saying, you could use like the grapple shot to sort of pull yourself towards opponents and then transition into other moves. Maybe for the down B, we've seen the repulsor is an item in Infinite that can reflect projectiles. So what if the repulsor is your down B and it functions like your Smash Bros reflect, but it could also be used if you down B but then point it downwards. We saw that someone used the repulsor in the multiplayer trailer to launch themselves into the air, so maybe it could also provide something like that and help you recover onto the stage if you're quite far away from it. I think in terms of tilt attacks too, again, Chief is a very capable hand-to-hand combatant, so maybe it would just be your typical sort of kicks and punches and stuff. Maybe, to be fair, your like forward tilt could actually be where like you hit them with like the back of your weapon, or maybe it's like they add their pistol whack from Combat Evolve, or you do like the little flip with the pistol whip. Why? I'm sorry, I can't get my words out right now. But yeah, you could do like the little pistol whip for like the forward tilt. I think that would be pretty funny to see, and see like these little references to Halo games integrated. I think in terms of aerials, you could see something like the gravity hammer for the forward air, and it would actually sort of knock you back a little bit, like you jump up into the air, swing your gravity hammer in front of you, and it would knock you back a little bit each time you do it, which obviously, as well as being a powerful weapon, the gravity hammer does usually knock players back, so it would be cool to see that sort of integrated in some way. Maybe the down air could be the ground pound from Halo 5, or something like where you actually sort of cause yourself to do a rocket jump and you fire the rocket launcher beneath your foot or something. I think the ground pound, like sort of seeing an example of something from Halo 5, the ground pound would fit pretty well. Or going back to the forward smash, maybe the forward smash could actually be the Spartan charge. I would like to see something from Halo 5 sort of in there, and from Halo 4. I mean, to be fair, a bit like how when you do a perfect parry as Steve, he pulls up a shield from Minecraft. Maybe for Chief, you could actually hold up a hard light shield or something. I think that, again, would be a nice little reference. Speaking of shield, when you do actually shield, it would be nice if it had the pattern of the bubble shield to make it look a bit more unique. I think there is a couple of characters that have a sort of a unique looking shield, so I do think that's something that's possible. I think in terms of your Neri, probably just your standard like sort of kick thing that a lot of characters do. See, I think if we were to compare how Chief could play, I know a lot of people have said that he'd be a zoner, but I don't really think that would be the case. I think there is that much potential there for movesets that it would be stupid to just limit it to projectile-based like attacks. So I think if he was to play similarly to anyone, it would be someone like Link, where he's got a fair share of projectile and physical attacks. And it will pretty much make sense to like function like that. Like I say, there is a lot of potential there, so it would be stupid to just limit it to just range-based attacks. I think someone like Chief would be a heavyweight character, because obviously he's wearing really heavy armour. It makes sense for him to be heavy. To be honest, I'd expect him to be heavy. I kind of like playing as heavies anyway, so that would be pretty cool. But I'm not just saying I think he should be a heavy because I like playing with heavyweight characters. He wears armour that weighs 1,000 pounds. It would make sense for him to be a heavy. As well, I think sort of in terms of grabs, I imagine he'd sort of just, for his actual grab, he'd probably just grab you with his hands. And then that could maybe transition into using different weapons again from Halo. Maybe like the forward throw could actually be where like he holds you in front of him, shoots you a couple of times with a magnum, which causes you to get knocked back. Or like the up throw could just be something where he throws you up into the air. Maybe like the down throw can throw you into the ground and like ground pound on your face or something. That would be pretty funny. I doubt they'd be anything like too interesting. I mean, to be fair, it'd be cool to see actual other weapons like sort of integrated. Maybe for the down throw, it could actually be he throws you into the ground and pulls out a shotgun. Again, that would be pretty cool. Nice little references to other Halo weapons and stuff would be pretty cool to see. Again, there is so much potential there for moves for Chief that it is hard to actually narrow it down. I think there's some where it'd be pretty obvious. Like, say, if it is based off Infinite Chief, the grapple shot makes sense to be the recovery. I think it is the perfect option. If not, then maybe something like actually referencing the rocket jump, and you do fire a rocket launch beneath your feet to propel yourself into the air. That could work, but I do think if it's Infinite Chief, which it probably will be, if he is added into the game, considering what sort of time the character would probably release, the grapple shot, for me, makes the most sense. Anyway, I think that's about all I've got to say for his moveset, so I guess let's move on to the next topic. Bit of a shorter one. Obviously, each character in Smash has a variety of ults. Each character has 8 different alternate styles, skins, whatever you want to call them. So I've got some ideas of what Chiefs would probably be. Now, certain characters actually have 4 different ults, and then have like another 4 that actually, they're not just a different colour, they actually vary your appearance. So maybe Chief could have 4 that is Infinite design, and 4 that is Combat Evolved design. Since as well, if Chief is added, it will be around about his 20th anniversary, so it'd be a cool little reference to the first, it would be like a nice little throwback to the original game. I think for the 4 Infinite colours, it would probably be based off either different sort of colours that you've seen Chief's armour appear in, like the different shades of green, or probably like different armour coatings that will be an Infinite. Like that sort of camouflage one, maybe the Scorpion Punch one, like just different armour coatings. Whereas for the Combat Evolved ones, maybe you'd probably see, obviously, the standard colour, but then you could see the red and blue skins in like a throwback to like red versus blue. Since, like, I don't mean the show, I just mean how you fight in red and blue teams, and then maybe there'd be like another one that could just be like a black skin or something like that. Something quite cool. I mean, Master Chief Collection has visor customization in Halo Combat Evolved now, so it wouldn't be too far-fetched to maybe see an alternate skin for Combat Evolved Chief with a different visor colour for Smash. I mean, it would be really cool if like each ult was like a different variation of Chief, and you did have the Halo 4 and 5 one, and you had the Halo 2 and 3 ones, and you had the Combat Evolved, but obviously that would take a lot of time and effort, and I just don't see that as something that'd happen. But I could definitely see having 2 versions of Chief being like the Infinite one and the original version. I think that would be pretty cool to see, and definitely something that would be really interesting if they went for that route. Anyway, I guess we'll just move on to the last short topic. So another thing that each Smash character gets is an Amiibo. Banjo's already had one, so we know that Microsoft are okay with Nintendo releasing Amiibos of these characters. I just want to say now that it would be insane to see a Master Chief Amiibo, a Master Chief product produced by Nintendo. That would be insane, and I'd love it. Now, obviously, let's just go back to the skins a sec, if we did have a Combat Evolved version and Infinite one, they don't usually always release Amiibos of both styles, so I think we just get whichever one's the main one, like, pretty much we'd get one of the Infinite one. I think, obviously, Amiibos are always high quality, so it would be great to see a Chief one. Maybe you could, like, have an energy sword out, or it could be firing the grapple shot. Maybe you could have, like, just some little cool thing on the base of the stand or whatever. Some of the Amiibos have done something really interesting, like the Banjo one, for example, again, is stand on top of a Jiggy. I know the Joker one has that like little aura effect, like the little Arsene aura effect going around him, so it'd be cool to see something similar like that with Chief. Anywho, this video has been a lot longer than I expected it to be, I'll be honest. I think I've made it pretty damn clear that I'd love to see Master Chief in Smash. Halo is my favourite video game series of all time, and Chief is definitely, if not my favourite, fictional character of all time, alongside characters like Spider-Man and Godzilla. I love Master Chief, he is so cool. And I'd love to see him in Smash. I know I'm not the only one, I know there's a lot of people out there that would like to see him in Smash, and I'm not going to go and say it's impossible. There's one slot left, and I'll be honest, just hear me out. There's one slot left. It would be the final fighter. Chief's tagline would be Master Chief finishes the fight, which would be true because he would be the last character, so he would literally be finishing the fight. Please, Nintendo, it would be perfect. Please, please, please add him!